Okay, I'll stop. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Robverse TV. I know my first couple of videos were going to be a review and a reaction of Rick and Morty, and I got kind of distracted with some ideas with TikTok, and I was like, you know what, that could be a great video, simple to make, so let's go ahead and do that just to get something up there. So that's why that video was up there. Also, I know if you've been following me on Instagram, I had said that I was going to post a video today at 10 a.m., not p.m., 10 a.m., which it was, but you know, I'm learning a lot about YouTube and copyright claims and how to do reaction videos and review videos and all that kind of stuff. So I wound up getting a copyright copyright claim. There's a difference. I learned this. So, you know, I couldn't post the video, which is fine. I'm learning all kinds of things. I'm new to this. I'm learning, y'all. So here we are with my review of episode 1 in season 5 of Rick and Morty. So episode 1 is such a refresh, and it's kind of a different feel of Rick and Morty that we've never really had before. You know, Rick and Morty has always been creative. You know, I will say this show has captivated me in a way that I didn't think it was going to, because I'm a hardcore South Park fan. South Park is my favorite adult cartoon show of all time. And before I started watching, people would tell me, like one of my close friends was just like, dude, this show is great, you should watch it. He's also a South Park fan, but he was like, you should watch this show. And I was like, you know, sure. But this time around, I actually sat down and I really paid attention and watched it, and I was like, yo, this show is fantastic. Anyways, I just keep rambling on. Season 5, episode 1. This episode was such a great refresh. It starts off with Rick and Morty completely damaged. They're trying to get to the ship, right? And meanwhile, Jessica winds up calling Morty, trying to hook up for a date. And Morty was just like, yeah, sure, you know, as they're crash landing into the ocean, right? And this wonderful character called Mr. Nimbus is introduced in this episode. And I pray that they bring him back in season 6, because he is such a delight. He is so full of himself. But pretty much what happens in this episode is Morty becomes this boogeyman, essentially, for this civilization that lives in this parallel universe where time moves probably, you know, millions of times faster. Like, let's just say 5 seconds in Morty's world is, you know, 30 to 40, 50 years in this dimension. So Morty becomes this boogeyman for this dimension because there is a misunderstanding with this box of wine that Morty and Rick had thrown into this dimension to age. And so what wound up happening was this lovable character named Hoovy winds up trying to just help Morty get the wine from his dimension and just carry it into Morty's dimension. But he was gone for probably 20 years. And so when he gets back to his dimension, it's like his home is completely dead, deserted. His wife is dead, stripped down to her bones, but her son is still there. And he's been waiting for Hoovy to come back and immediately stabs him. And so Hoovy asks his son, he's like, why did you do this? And his son is like, I told mother that when you got back, I'd avenge her death. And he was like, it's not my fault. And he was like, who then? Who? And Hoovy was like, the boy from the door. And so that's when it begins. And so now this evil myth or this prophecy has been started about Morty with the civilization. And so Morty has to go back into this portal to get more wine because it wound up spilling in his time. And when he gets back for his second round, Hoovy's son is there, still in the same spot by the house, and he's like aged 20 years, right? And so when Morty gets there, he's like, yo, where's Hoovy? And Hoovy's son turns around and goes, don't mention his name, rips off his shirt and beats the living shit out of Morty. And so Morty runs off, goes back into his dimension, and literally sits there for 3 seconds. And he's like, you know what? No, that. I'm going back. Immediately goes back, and Hoovy's son has aged another 30 years, and he's this old man with his kids, and he pushes him, which is hilarious. And so when he pushes him, he winds up killing Hoovy's son. But now Hoovie's son's children, his grandchildren, wind up seeing that. And so that's where it really just starts escalating. And so decade after decade, Morty keeps coming back through this portal, and it's like the Bronze era, and they hate him. And then all of a sudden they wind up finding some technology that Morty wound up leaving behind. And so they use that and they develop technology, and then now this futuristic generation of this civilization hates Morty, and they're trying to kill him. And so they try to send somebody through their dimension into Morty's dimension to kill him, which fails. And then this is the part that I absolutely also love, that ties into something that I love in the end of the episode. Clearly I just love a lot of things about this episode. Jessica winds up getting taken back through this portal, and Morty's just like, oh, hell nah, you ain't about to just take my girl. So Morty sits there and he starts strapping up, right? He's getting guns and lasers and all kinds of stuff to go back there and wreck shop. And he goes back in there, and they've already evolved again to like these, what do you want to call it? Like cyborg-esque bodies, right? And they've already set up this trap for Morty with this virtual reality Adam and Eve sequence. So Morty gets in there and he sees an older version of himself picking berries, and then boom, the illusion completely shatters, and then you see this completely like cyberpunk futuristic robotic world of these, they're dogs also, I forgot to mention that. So they're like dog humanoids, and they capture Morty and they take him to where Jessica was being held. And so he winds up escaping and getting Jessica back. And when they get back, this part is my absolute favorite. So Morty's, after all that, right? Morty is just like, so Jessica, you want to go on this date? And then we have this flashback of, so what happened to Jessica was she got trapped and encased in this crystal for thousands or hundreds to thousands of years, right? But she's been awake the entire time. So she has been seeing this civilization just develop, and she's been alone with her thoughts. That is scary. That is one of my biggest fears, is imagine being encased in some crystal and you're awake for hundreds of years just alone with your thoughts. Oh. And so she's sitting there and she goes, yeah, time is all I've had. Perhaps I've glimpsed into eternity, maybe even the eyes of God. I think we should just be friends. And just completely shoves Morty off to the side. I was like, yo, but I get it. Like, this girl has technically lived for hundreds to thousands of years. She ain't got time for your 14-year-old butt boy. After that, she walks off and she sees this dude who's in a car, and he honks at her, and she's just like, fuck off, I'm a time god, get the hell out of my way. Classic. This show is so good, so freaking good. Anyway, if I could rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10, I would definitely give this episode a 9.4. So one of my favorite episodes of all time. Next to the Meeseeks episode, one of my favorite episodes of all time. Definitely go watch. Even if you don't like Rick and Morty, from a creative standpoint, just go watch this episode. It's so good. So go watch this episode. And that right there, folks, is my review for Rick and Morty season 5, episode 1. Take care, y'all. I love you. Spread peace, love, and entertainment. Take care, y'all.